Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk with Matt. I'm Matt Stolboff in New Jersey, and it has been a very, very long time. I know it's been a long time. As you guys know, I've been working Jersey Boys Sports Talk too with my friends Nick and CB. We've been doing that for a while. We did that for the whole school year, basically. Summer we've kind of kicked back, relaxed, wait a few weeks, and now kind of coming back into it. Sports Talk with Matt, as you know, is more of a summer show, so I'll be doing that. And then Jersey Boys Sports Talk will be coming back very soon as well. So I'm pumped. I've known I've missed a lot, but I'm going to talk about like what's recently happened. NBA free agency, what's going on in the All Star, MLB All Star break. Rosters. How teams are doing. Who's probably going to win the Cy Young, MVP, all that. I'll talk about all that. NBA free agency drama right now with DeAndre Jordan. Is he actually going to Dallas? Is he going back to LA? And now there's been a lot of uncertainty in the last few hours and what's going on with him. But we're going to tip off with free agency. Kind of just going to go down a list, basically, the big names, really, of who went where. Kind of just saying what teams they're going to, and my opinion on it and how it's going to affect teams throughout the NBA. Also, if you want to call in, you can. 201-937-9176. So just call in if you want to call in. Just call in whenever, have your opinion, whatever you want. Anything in sports. So let's start off right now. NBA free agency. We'll start with the big one, biggest one of them all. Marcus Aldridge, who was a little later to kind of announced it. I think July 3rd or 4th. I can't remember. But yeah, Marcus Aldridge, or maybe it was July 5th. Marcus Aldridge is agreeing to a 4-year, $80 million contract with the Spurs, was down. I honestly did not, beginning of the year, if you told me that Marcus Aldridge was leaving Portland, I wouldn't have believed you. I thought he would stay. I really did. And he was, been killing it. He's one of the best power forwards in the league, and now he's going to be teammates with another great power forward, the big fundamental, Tim Duncan. I mean, it's perfect for San Antonio. They cannot be really any more luckier in getting big names and being more set. They're dominating now, and they're also set for the future. It's incredible. Aldridge, one of the best power forwards. As his career progressed, he was able to create a shot more. He was posting up, and then he created an outside shot and was really a dual threat power forward, and also can get a lot of boards. He's a constant double-double guy. 2010, 2012. I mean, he really knows how to score the basketball. He is a great power forward. He kind of realized, constantly getting out first, second round these last few years, especially with Damian Lillard. I guess he thought that, this team isn't going to get any better. This is the best, Portland's going to be. So, so it was a little heartbreaking for Portland. But they're going to try to, they'll move on, see what happens. So I feel bad for Portland, but San Antonio getting a great pickup right there. I mean, Marcus Aldridge really is a dominant power forward. I'm trying to get his stats now. I don't know why I wasn't loading before, but let me just get it for you guys. All right, so yeah, Marcus Aldridge. I mean, his last 5 years. I mean, last 5 years, 4 times selected as an All-Star. I mean, look, 21. 21-8, 21-8 again, 21-9. Then the last 2 years, 2 big years, and he was really dominant, really picking up on the boards, 23-11 and 23-10. I mean, he was a great power forward, good shooter, and is starting to hit the three now too, especially this year. This year he shot 35%, took about 2 threes a game, was on 3-point shot, and was getting it down. He it's been great for him, and he needs a good point guard. Tony Parker can be that guy, give him a good pass. I mean, they have a great team. Kawhi is a good defensive player. It's a well-rounded team, and this is a team that can easily win the championship. Easily. Tony Parker, Danny Green, who we're signed to, Kawhi Leonard, defensive player of the year, young guy, and he's starting to score a lot too. He's really over the last, as he's gotten older, he's starting to score a lot more. Getting close to double-doubles every night. Then, they'll put Aldridge at power forward and put Duncan at center because they traded Tiago Splitter to afford Aldridge. And it's just going to be a great team, very exciting team. I'm excited to see it. It's just going to be a good, well-rounded team. They're going to pass. They're going to play the game right and not be a selfish team. This is a team that wants to win. Tim Duncan wants 6. And he's ready to win a championship. One last time. It's probably his last year. Once he's gone, this is Aldridge's team. He's ready for that. I think that's why he went to San Antonio and not Phoenix, who was in the fight too. In Phoenix, it was almost like a wild card, kind of throwing a dice there. They can be great, but they can also have some issues. San Antonio, you know the foundation of the team. Pop's a good coach. You know what they've done, and you know that you can take over once. You can't be the franchise player once Tim Duncan retires, once Tony Parker retires, and you can take over. So it's good for Aldridge. It's good for San Antonio, obviously. He's a great player, and it's going to be exciting. All right, so we'll go now with DeAndre Jordan, who agreed a few days ago to sign a 4-year max, which is, I think, 4 years, $80 million too, with the Mavericks. And a lot of people, they assumed, all right, so this is over, including myself, that DeAndre's just going to Dallas. And now, I want to say 3 hours ago, we're hearing rumors now that DeAndre, he's meeting up with LA with a couple of Clippers players, I think Doc's going to be there, and they're going to try to convince him to come back to LA, and he's supposedly leaning towards going back to the Clippers, and it's just kind of crazy to me. I really can't believe it. I don't think it's almost like the Chris Paul trade when he was traded to LA to the Lakers. Like everyone assumed, all right, this is happening, and then obviously David Stern took it away. It's almost like a tease to Dallas fans, And obviously, if you've seen on Twitter the last few hours, a couple of NBA players have been sending emojis of how they're going to get to DeAndre and talk to him. And look, he's going to help both teams. Obviously, look, Clippers, they need a center. They really don't have big men. Blake Griffin, obviously, but they don't have – Blake Griffin isn't a true center. He's not going to he'll shoot more and he won't post up as much as DeAndre. They don't really have a true center outside of DeAndre if he stays. And Dallas, they just lost Tyson Chandler, so they need another center. They don't really have one besides him because they traded Brendan Wright last year, and for Rondo, and DeAndre's he's a solid center. He's like Chandler, will score all right. He's not, he's not the best scorers, but he's gonna get you boards up the wazoo. Had 15 rebounds last year, led the league. 15. Good player. He's going into his prime. He's done better every single year. He's starting to block a lot more too. Went from 1.4 to 2.5 2 years ago, and then 2.2 this year. So he's consistently, he's a top blocking scorer now. It's basically like Dwight Howard, but just not as great of a scorer. Tyson Chandler type of player, but younger, and is a good player. He's a good, solid player. Can make an all-star roster. Very good player. Obviously, dominant player. Free throws, that's a different story. But he's still a good player that anybody would want. Any team would love DeAndre Jordan. Going to Dallas, that'd be good. Sitting by Dirk in the front court, that'd be good. And then obviously in Clippers, just going back to the original team, added a few people on Paul Pierce, so we'll talk about a little bit later. Trying to, because Chris Paul, he's a free agent after this year. So they need to make a run now. They need to make it past the second round, the second round, go to the conference finals. Think about it, Chris Paul has never been in the conference finals. And really, DeAndre, I think, wherever he wants, because he kind of has a shot with any team there. I think the Mavs, because they got Wesley Matthews. Obviously, if DeAndre goes, that's good. Point guard situation, they'd lose Monte Ellis. They got to fix up the backcourt a little bit because they really don't have guys right now. Because I'm hearing J.J. Barea might leave too. So really don't have a backcourt. If they fix the backcourt situation, they'll be good because obviously they would Chandler Parsons, small forward, Dirk, and DeAndre. That'd be great. Now, in L.A., it's a little different. Front, power forwards all set, point guards all good. J.J. Redick's there. You got Paul Pierce, who basically wanted to go there for the last few years and be with Doc again. So going there is great for the Clippers. Both teams are kind of set, similar. I don't see either team making it past beating the Warriors, beating the Spurs right now the way they're set up. I just don't see it happening. I think and even Houston. I think all those teams are just way too talented right now that I don't see the Clippers or the Mavs with both of them having DeAndre Jordan. Even if the Clippers had DeAndre, I don't see them going past those three teams. Same with the Mavs if they had DeAndre. I don't think it's possible. I think you need to have a one more star or a better scorer. Because DeAndre obviously is not the best of scorers, especially in the free throw line. You got to take him out because they're just going to hack a Shaq him, and he's going to miss all his free throws. So you have to, it's a work in progress, but he's still a talented player, block shots, get boards, can be a defensive player of the year. Definitely can see it in the next few years. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. We'll see if there's updates on the story as the show progresses. We'll have to wait and see on that. But DeAndre, I mean, I don't know. I've never seen someone agree to a team in free agency then go back. You know, unless you're a restricted free agent. This is a little different. It's kind of weird. I'm not really sure where he'll go. I mean, I expect him to stay with Dallas if he made up his mind. But if he goes to LA, it'll be interesting going with the Clippers because we've never seen this before. Greg Monroe, another guy I want to talk about quickly. You know, going to the Bucks, signed 3-year, $50 million. He's a good center. You know, 24, 25, kind of similar to DeAndre. Could score a little more is a little bit of a scorer than DeAndre. And, you know, 15-10 last year for the Pistons. He's always been good. He's never really been on a great Pistons team, though. But he's always been a solid center. This would be interesting 'cause, you know, the Bucks are a very young team. Their whole starting lineup, you look at their starting lineup, MCW, young, 23 or so. You know, Jabari Parker, when he comes back, young. Giannis is young. You know, Chris Middleton is young. And obviously now Greg Monroe, who's about, I think he's 24 now, 25, going to turn 25. So a very young team that Jason Kidd can work on. It's going to be very interesting, very good. He's a good scorer. He's a great scorer, good rebounder, and is very young. It's just going to get better. You know, kind of Andre Drummond's better, but that was a very good front court in those two. They're both talented centers. I think it just needed to change the scenery for, you know, Greg Monroe if he wants to be on a winning team. Going to Milwaukee. It's definitely a good start. And the Eastern Conference, we all know it's not that great. You know, you can easily make the playoffs. I see the Bucks making it easily now with Greg Monroe. Great addition there. Young team, you know, in a few years, you know, when all these guys are in their primes in about 3-4 years, this could be a very, you know, deadly team, a team to watch out for. You know, all these guys are locked up too. Giannis is good. Jabari just signed his rookie contract. Obviously, they gave an extension to Chris Middleton. Greg Monroe just signed. So it's a very good team, very young team. MCW's there, still with a rookie contract in his third year. And I'm sure if he does well, which he kind of struggled in Milwaukee compared to what he did in Philly. But in Milwaukee, he struggled a little bit. But if he does well, you know, comes back to his triple-double, double-double days, this could be a very, very good team and team to look out for in the Eastern Conference. Especially because it's a very weak conference, especially in the Atlantic. You know, the Atlantic, the Nets, Knicks, Philly. You know, not a very good conference at all. You know, a team like Milwaukee can definitely take over, get a 4 or 5 seed, and you know, I don't know if they'll make it. Not probably not the next 2 years. We'll see them in the Eastern Conference Finals, but definitely when all these starters are in their prime, definitely I can see them in the finals. All right, so Greg Monroe. So those were the kind of, you know, I wanted to get with the centers, kind of the bigger names at the moment who moved. I'm not saying Marc Gasol who stayed, Jimmy Butler who stayed, Caleb who stayed. We're going to talk about them in a few minutes. We're going to go back to Portland because now they lost Aldridge and Damian Lillard signed 5-year, $120 million extension to stay. I think he's got a few years left on his rookie contract. I forget how much, but I want to talk about Portland because of their starting situation now. Because basically their whole starting lineup is gone. Damian Lillard's still there, only one there. Because shooting guard Wesley Matthews, he's gone. He headed to Dallas as well. And Wesley Matthews is a great shooter. I believe he's the all-time Portland Trailblazers 3-point shooter. He's made the most threes in Trailblazers history. And, you know, great shooter, deadly shooter. Just interesting to see. And also, so he went to Dallas. Nicholas Batum got traded. Let me look at the trail. It was for Noah Vonleh. I remember it was to Charlotte. So Noah Vonleh and why did I forget the other guy? So it was to Noah Vonleh and Gerald Henderson, who's an alright, you know, okay shooting guard. He's going to get you 10. He's a little older now. He's going to get you like 10, 12 points per game. He's alright, decent score, but you know, not that exciting. I believe that Batum was, you know, he struggled a little bit, gets hurt every once in a while, but I still think he's a pretty good scorer. He's definitely talented, and he, you know, 26, you know, he's definitely a talented guy, can shoot threes. So they lost him, and then Ron Lopez, who was a free agent, went to New York for a good amount of cash, I forget how much, and Lopez going there. So Lopez Once again, this is another guy similar to Tyson Chandler, similar to DeAndre. Not as great as a scorer of those two, but a good player, can get you the boards. Good defensive player. He's a very underrated defensive player, especially in Phoenix and what he's done in Portland these last 2 years. He's been great. Good defensive player, solid player. The Knicks, this is good sign for the Knicks. It's going to hurt Portland more than you think. Losing a defensive center like that, especially losing your